And welcome everybody back to Earworm. My name is Tim Malone, my co-host here, young master Zach Smith. And for the second time, we're having Tomas Lavelle with us as our so
Glad to be here. Can you hear me?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Perfectly. Is Tim all right?
I'll be bopping around, man.
He's bebopping, big bug jumping here on a Thursday morning. How we
Big B
doing, Tom?
bopper.
Good
Good.
morning.
Good to be here.
Yeah,
Glad to be here. Good to see you boys,
Yeah,
just sit
long time.
here, talk shop, bust chops.
jeez, here we go.
There's one. There's one.
Tim, how's everything with you? I haven't seen you in a little while, buddy. How's dad?
He's good.
Good.
Yeah, and just basically lifting a lot of poop lately.
Oh boy.
Feeding a lot of horses lately. I don't mind it though.
Okay, cool. Very
Yeah.
cool.
So, Tom, you had a very good idea to present with to Zach and I enjoyed the heck out of it. It's kind of out of I don't know how else to describe it. Kind of out of left field. We mostly Zach and I have done popular bands. I mean, we jumped all around with different genres and different time periods, but this is unique, my friend, that
Thank
you
you.
presented it to us yesterday, and I am intrigued because I think this hits all of our dozen or so listeners. Everyone's going to be familiar with this guy. So, you want to let us know when you want to chat about?
Yeah, so I mean, I think everyone's gonna know him, but they don't maybe necessarily know him. And I don't know if Zach, you're on that level, but so we're talking about the artist that I want to talk about today is an artist by the name of John Williams. And if you're not familiar with John Williams, you probably are familiar with John Williams. You just don't realize you're familiar with him. He is what I like to call the GOAT, the best there's ever been, the best there is, best there was, best there ever will be. Maybe a little
Oh,
wrestling reference for you, throwback to our last episode. But um, I'm a huge like movie fan, and I'm also a big fan of classical music. I in the mix of music that I would listen to as a kid, classical music was in there. And so when you think of like old movie scores and stuff like that, it's more of a classical music vibe, orchestra, stuff like that. And so I want to talk about John Williams because he's done it all. Every movie that you probably grew up with had a soundtrack from John Williams. We're talking the biggest of all time: Superman, Star Wars, Jaws, Indiana Jones, Home Alone, Hook, Jurassic Park, just to name a few. Harry Potter, if you're Zachary's age. Um, he's done it all. He's done like the most incredible scores of all time. And at least a couple times a year, I find myself diving into John Williams music where like I'll be driving around and that's kind of what I'm listening to, old themes and stuff
Just
of that
throw
nature.
an old score on and just ride around and listen to it, huh?
I love it, It's just like and
I
they're
like that.
used for so many things. Like when I think about music, a lot of times there'll be a song that maybe I don't really connect with right away. And then I'll see it in a movie or I'll see it with like a highlight reel or like a bunch of sports clips or like there'll be something that happens in my life and me and my friends are out and this song was playing or something like that that makes you kind of connect with it. And so naturally, with John Williams, the artist, I feel like there's just that connection. And so like that's why I think I like riding around and listening to it because of the emotion it brings and like the connection I have to when I saw, you know, Hook for the first time in the movies, or I saw Jaws for the first time, and then I'm like, man, this guy is such a genius that he came up with all this whole catalog of music, and it's like no one really ever talks about like the greatest of all time, and he is just next level.
Yeah, he's basically put it into you can at the same time go back to your emotions like you said, but you can also like watch the movie in your head when you listen to the music because it's
Yes.
so spot on. Like the opening to Home Alone, like you said, is just it's so fitting. like I kind of hear a little bit of Harry Potter in it,
Right.
about the whimsical thing, but it kind of goes from the normal Christmas and then he goes back into that whimsical and you can just see the pictures and it's amazing.
Yeah.
One of the unique things that stands out to me with John Williams, and I'm a little older than you guys, and I remember him at the Oscars, and you saw this guy with a mustache and glasses. He looked like a neighbor down the street. But the one standout movie that sticks with me with John Williams is Star Wars. The
Absolutely.
first one, I mean, that's when he got huge. I mean, of course, he did Jaws before that and things like that. But if you really pay attention to that score, you can when you hear a song and like Zach was saying, you're driving down the road and you're listening to it, you can actually see in your mind the character that's coming on, like all the deep, dark tones. And of course, it's going to be Darth Vader. And then, like when there's some sort of like quasi victory with Luke Skywalker, there's that theme. And like there's kind of a goofiness he also had with the bar scene when he meets Harrison Ford. I mean,
Yeah.
that is the unique stuff that like blows my mind when it comes to John Williams. I mean, that
For Star
that
Wars, it's all the way down to like a plane landing
oh
or something like that.
oh
And
I
there's
know.
even a sound there that hits. You're like, oh my God.
And the level of detail that
Yeah.
goes into kind of drawing that emotion, and like there's been the director of Rookie of the Year, I forget his name, but he was Marv in Home Alone. But so he was talking about directing that movie, and just he knew John Williams from Home Alone, and like they connected and was like, can you do the music for this movie? And he says without that music the movie doesn't resonate. Like you think without Jaws, without the music in Jaws, without Star Wars, the music in Star Wars, like you can have a great movie if it doesn't have the right music, it's not going to hit. You know what I mean? And he just has the way of taking the story and creating a story with the music as well. It's like it's really unbelievable. I just like almost jealous about how
It's
amazing and talented he is.
almost like he took Star Wars and took the nerdiness out of it and made it into like a play because of how he, went through the story. It's just it is like I'm not a Broadway or that type of fan, but when it's this into it and intriguing and it's something special. So that really got me going um in Star Wars, but then to Jurassic Park, and then he gets into the serious movie like Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, Saving Private Ryan, incredible, and like him being able to tell a story without any words, and that music hitting when the dramatic scenes are going on, and like you said, you hear the song, and it's like you go right back to it, and you're like, wow, that's just like it's almost incredible, like almost like when you read the book, when you read a book, and you're like going through it in your mind, like you're hearing the music, and you're not actually seeing the movie, and you're like make it's almost makes it better in your mind, if that makes sense, at least to me.
But they're like a super duper niche song or super duper niche, just like kind of like scene is Close Encounters of the Third Kind. When the guy on the keyboard is sitting there talking to the spaceship and the spaceship responds back with the same tones and the different colors and whatnot. And that is just so simplistic. I mean, what is it, like five notes? And I mean, that makes the movie. It's like the ultimate scene or
Yeah.
penultimate scene. And I mean, just something super nichey where just take a keyboard and
What about Superman?
oh yeah.
Dun, 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 bam, bam, bam. And you're like, ah, it's Superman.
And that's when he's showing up. It you're right though. I mean that like I'm trying to say, like exactly what's going on when you hear that music. You hear those tones, you hear those notes, if you will. Um, I brought up somebody to you guys who, in my mind, if you take a look at the movies that he scored, probably within like the last 20 or 30 years, is the new John Williams, in my opinion. And have you guys looked up, or I didn't bring it to you, but I'm going to surprise you now, Danny Elfman.
Danny
And he,
Elfman. No, let's what has he done?
He's done Batman. He's done Midnight Run. He's done Pee Wee Herman movies. He's done Beetlejuice. He's done Scrooged. He did the original Dick Tracy,
Mm.
Edward Scissorhands. I think all the Batman movies with Michael Keaton in them, he did. And I mean, it's pretty
He kind
impressive.
of looks like a Batman villain.
He kind of, and I'm part of the reason I wanted to bring him up is because, Tom's about 10 years younger than me, but do you remember his band back in the day?
No.
Danny Elf.
He looks familiar. I feel like I should remember his band.
Oingo
Uh,
Boingo.
no,
Never
I
heard
don't
of
know.
him?
No,
They were,
Oingo Boingo. No.
there was a movie with Rodney Dangerfield, and he went back to college,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
and they were the
Back to
band
school.
back to school. They were the band in like the background,
That's so
and
funny.
and then one of their songs, "Dead Man Party." It's a dead man's party. Who could ask for more? And that like leads right into him doing like the Tim Burton movies,
How
which
about
make
that?
Beetlejuice makes all the sense in the world. But he has got a plethora of movies that he's done. It's pretty impressive. I mean, Good Will Hunting.
That's a good one.
Yeah, he did the score for that.
You know what? The one guy that besides John Williams that always had like was up there for me was Jerry Goldsmith.
What
If you're
is what did
familiar with him.
what did he do?
Jerry Goldsmith's done all like so he did Rudy, which was a classic that people seem to know. I think he did Hoosiers, Gremlins,
He did Star
Rambo,
Trek.
Star Trek.
That's a good one.
There's been like I think he did later on like The Mummy maybe. But so he's done a lot of different but like his classic like sports ones like if you're Rudy is like play used in so many different things that it's one of the Alien I guess it looks like he did but that's one of my all-time favorite ones, and that's one where like I listen to what's called the final game in Rudy, and like me and my brother can tell you when different people are saying different things, and like when the announcer's starting to say, the student section is chanting for a guy named Rudy Rudiger, subject to the local student newspaper, like so you're listening to the music and you can see it all. But Jerry Goldsmith's done a lot too.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, your guy that you brought up, John Williams, so kind of, in my opinion, led to these other gentlemen doing these other soundtracks. And I mean, I brought up Danny Elfman because he was in a popular band during like the '80s, and then all of a sudden, boom, he moved into this score world. And I looked at, he did Age of Ultron, Danny Elfman too, like all these freaking movies. But I mean, I mean, it's I wonder what, here's a weird question for both of you guys. I wonder what these guys make by doing the score in reference to these unbelievably popular movies, especially like you're about Star Wars. Who hasn't seen a Star Wars movie?
I'm hoping that he
Jeez,
gets like a percentage. One of
Yeah.
got to.
one of his underrated ones is E.T. I think is one of the
Yeah.
best scores that he did, and like it just he's done so much. And I want to say he kind of changed the game because he started what in like he's 93, so
He's
he
still
had
with
And
to
us.
he just
yeah
signed on to do another Spielberg
he's
movie too.
done
Did you see
like
that?
every Spielberg movie
He
ever.
just signed to do the 30th one, and it's coming out
Wow.
next year. So he's still going. It's nuts.
But he's like I would say in the 50s there was definitely a shift in the way music or the type of music used in movies. And I feel like without knowing too much, I would like to give him all the credit, a lot of the credit at least. Like, you know what I mean? Like it feels like it was a little more boxy back in the day. Like it was more like you had your score and that was, they were all very much the same. And it just seems like he kind of came in and maybe tweaked it, like the stuff you're talking about with what was the outer space one you were talking about? Whatever.
Yeah,
But
Close Encounters.
Close Encounters, and then like different little things and like the little stuff, in Jaws. Dun, 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 it's like those little things, and it changed the game of like music in the movies, and it kind of maybe brought it to like a fresher, newer like sound, if that makes sense.
But it also Tom, think about it. It also changed cinema
Right.
in that like that dramatic scene when the big giant shark is chasing the boat orca, with the guys on there. I mean that
Yeah.
go back to some of the like movies prior to that that were extremely popular. Is there like is there a score? Is there music there that stands out to, I mean, there's all, I mean, but I think Jaws was like what, 75, 74, 75, somewhere around there.
Well, yeah, it's just the
70.
50th anniversary this year, so
Yeah.
75.
But I'm sitting here brainstorming, trying to think of some movies that were prior to that that have standout scores or
One that
music.
stood out to me, uh, what is it called? I mean, it's super famous, but frankly, Scarlet, I don't give a damn. I forget
Oh yeah, yeah. I was thinking the same one with with the during the Civil War. What the heck is the
yeah,
name of that? Yeah,
I forget the name of the movie, but that's a good one if you
yeah,
want to give a listen. It's old, it's older though. Like I don't know if maybe there's more flute in it or something,
yeah.
but like it's just a little bit different than the orchestra sound that you're getting from John Williams and like that different. God, what the heck is the name of the movie?
Yeah, we won like all those Oscars and
Yeah,
sort
yeah,
of.
whatever.
Zach's gonna pop it up in the corner of the screen when he's
Yeah,
editing and be like, "Hey,
yeah,
morons, here it is."
yeah, yeah.
It's funny now that I'm sitting here thinking about the movies that were prior to John Williams, and if you and either you guys are familiar with the genre of spaghetti westerns, Sergio
Yeah,
Sergio
spaghetti westerns. Yeah,
yeah, Sergio Leone movies. Clint Eastwood was in a bunch of them and stuff, and
right.
they have some unique instrumentation, some unique scores in them, and those are the movies that stood out to me back in the '60s with like Clint Eastwood and Lee Marvin and all these other cats. Henry Fonda was in one, and but those like you could it's almost
Gone with the Wind.
there we go. Did you have to look it up,
Gone with the
Zach?
Wind. Jesus. Yeah, yeah, I had to look it up. Unbelievable. I can't believe I didn't. But Gone with the Wind's a great one. Well, like also too, if we think about now, like we said, John Williams just signed on to do his 30th
93.
one with Spielberg.
He's
93 years old.
93. My goodness.
But like the scores now, like, I think like the Avengers, stuff like that's been pretty popular. But anymore, it seems like you go watch a movie and it's just like songs, they create a soundtrack using the music from artists. It's not really the original like scores anymore. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Oh,
It just
yeah.
feels like it's a mashup of whatever music they liked, and that's why I kind of like the idea of creating original music for a movie.
But
I'm trying to
Too
think of the
much, but
last.
I'm sure he's going to do an original score. He's not going to pull artists in. I'm sure he's going to do that. It's going to be a UFO movie, so it could be pretty interesting.
Oh yeah,
But I could
out
just
of this
see
world.
I could just see him having like Doja Cat in
Yeah,
the soundtrack, and it's just
yeah,
so different.
yeah.
But I
That'd
mean,
be awesome.
there throughout his more modern based movies like Jaws and Close Encounters, and well, I say modern based because they were during the time like they're filmed like it's 1976 in the movie, and boom, boom. The music that he uses soundtrack wise from popular artists at the time, I think it's kind of cool because I think of Jaws and the music, it's in the background, it's on the boat, it's in the cars and stuff. It's timely, but the score is basically driving the drama, driving the action compared to like Tom said in the modern movies today, like Doja Cat and like all the other crazy individual artists. The
Yeah.
score doesn't drive the drama in a lot of these modern movies comparatively.
Well, it's almost like I don't know. It's just different. Like there, I've enjoyed movies that maybe use the sound of a time for it. Like you know, Forrest Gump's the one that kind of rings out to me where like they
That's
had
a
a
good
great
one.
soundtrack of like classic, classic rock or whatever, just like telling the story of the time. Um, but like Scorsese, he always seems to use that song by the Rolling Stones, and it's like in all of his movies, over and over again. So there's
There's a
something
way
to
to
be
do it, and
said.
there's a way to ruin it.
Yeah, but it, like there was I forget who created the movie. So Almost Famous, if you remember that movie, was kind of a mashup of all these great classic songs. Well, the director of that tried to create this movie, I think, Elizabethtown, and it was
Yeah.
awful. I think he just thought, oh, I could just use great songs that people like, and they'll like this movie because they're watching a movie that has great songs that people like. And it's just like, no, that's not how it works. Like, you have to be able to tell the story with whatever music it is you're using. And I guess part of the reason why I brought John Williams up was because I just admire that he can create it. Like, they give him the story, he sees what goes on, he goes, okay, I have an idea of what sounds I'm going to use, how I'm going to portray this, and he goes to work. And like that process is just so cool to me that he can just come up with something, a sound, the Imperial March of Darth Vader, Superman coming down, Hook fly, Peter Pan flying across, Harry Potter doing his thing, Jaws coming out of the water. You know what I mean? Indiana Jones on the crusade. Like I don't know how the hell he comes up with it. I love the guy, and so that's why I like bringing it up.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
kind of a funny list to me because I didn't grow up really a movie guy, but
Yeah,
if you look at all these old movies for
yeah,
me, I loved every one of them growing up, and I still go back to watch them.
Right on.
So
yeah.
I think that's a big part. I'm saying it's a big part to him. Like he knows how to draw in
That
even
emotion.
yeah, even for somebody that doesn't really like to sit down and watch movies. I can sit and I'm cool with this. I'll listen to this guy rock it for a little bit.
Ah, dude, are you a Hook fan? Did you like Hook, the movie
I've seen
Hook?
it a couple times. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
even like what you said with Home Alone, when you hear that on there and you're like, I'm assuming Home Alone is one that you
Yeah,
liked.
100%.
Yeah. That you hear that and it just automatically brings you back to that movie and then maybe like as a kid watching it and you're like listening to it and you're like, "Oh my God, dude, this is the best."
Oh, and you
Well,
bring
I
up
just got the 25 Days of Christmas was just released. They're going to play Home Alone 1. I think we counted 9 times. So we're going to have a lot of chances to reminisce. So go ahead, Sammy.
but he brings up he's Tom brought up Home Alone. You brought up Home Alone a bunch of times now, and that's a John Hughes movie. And that's right from my time in middle school and high school with all the John Hughes movies that came out in the 80s. But if you take a look at his work, Breakfast Club, it was like all popular songs in there, kind of driving the content, driving the drama, driving the storyline. And then you go over to Home Alone, and he's using John Williams for the score and the soundtrack, not the soundtrack, but the music in there, the drive, the drama and the storyline. And that's something cool about John Williams. Everyone associates him with Steven Spielberg, but he's done a plethora of things throughout movies and directors and producers and things like that. That's kind of unique as well. And the dude is 93. I can't stop talking about that. Holy crap.
Yeah.
He's gonna put together
93,
a
still
score at
going.
93. Holy moly. I'm not and I'm
Yeah,
like
I
super
can't put together a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
I'm like
Maybe
super
I could.
interested
I
to
make a mean peanut butter and jelly. I don't want to lie,
Give yourself a
actually.
little bit of credit. Come on.
seriously. Use almond butter sometimes.
Yeah, I'm not one of these guys. See, that's the people that just try to use the music. They're the Uncrustable people. And there's a place for Uncrustables, but I'm a make your peanut butter and jelly sandwich guy,
So the
you know?
peanut butter and jelly are the score people, the Uncrustables are the soundtrack people.
Yes,
How
yeah,
they like it.
exactly.
Jeez.
There's room for both. But
Ah,
sometimes, I mean, a real like when you actually do, you can enjoy a regular peanut butter and jelly, and you think of the way mom made it back in the day, where it's cut diagonal and the crust is off.
well,
That's John Williams right there.
the jelly is leaking through the bread. You could see it on the outside. And by the time lunchtime comes to
Oh
you,
wow. Okay, well that sounds like a no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, you could. You're right. You could. You open up, it's in the clear bag, and you're like, oh, it's purple there in the middle. Oh well.
Tom, I want to thank you for being on again. I appreciate you turning this around
Glad to
rather
be here.
quickly. Yeah. And do you final thoughts here in this very, very good episode, in my opinion?
I would say final thoughts. If you're out there and you're listening to this, just go through John Williams's catalog, pick a movie that you like, and just one day driving around, you get a nice day or something like that. That movie, whatever it may be, throw it on there and just see if you can dive into it and enjoy the music. Just enjoy, listen to it, and give it a shot. That's not something that I don't think people do very often. And you might find that you like it, and maybe you'll find something new that you can dive into. Anything new in music that catches my interest, and I get to dive into it and be like a little bit, gain a little bit more knowledge, or find something that gets me like emotionally. I'm always for. So that's what my final thought would be. Go out there, give it a shot if you haven't done it before.
A great idea. I may do that on my way to work today, driving through Bell's Mill. Maybe
Yeah.
listen to a little bit of Imperial March. Really
Oh,
get going.
yeah.
They go sit in the golf shop and
I
check
would
some
do
golfers in.
if I would do the Star Wars theme, you know?
Yeah.
Because Imperial March is like like fitting for going to work, I guess,
Yeah.
But if you want to feel good driving through the sun and the foliage out there, I would do the Star Wars, and you'd be fired up, ready to get in there and sign people in.
Well, Tom,
Thanks again, Tommy.
thanks
Glad to
again,
be
buddy.
here, boys.
And for our dozen or so viewer listeners, you got to check out Tom and
Oh,
Check 'em
Sue's
out.
Schmidt and Lavelle
Hut.
podcast. I
Love
used to call all the time, but I've taken a little
now
break.
he's picking up poop.
Well, I was sick of getting my chops busted so much
It's
there.
it's
so-
up to you. You either call in or you pick up poop. Tim's chosen the poop route, but
Still getting my chops busted. Nice.
well, thanks for having me on, boys. I appreciate it.